Okay, y'all, so we are back again, and I am so excited for this Tuesday's guest. You all listen, I'm gonna tell you this: the devil works hard, but the internet works faster. I simply reposted this very viral video, and this beautiful human being, she's speaking to stepmoms, she's speaking to dads, she's speaking to biological moms, she's speaking to people, but she struck a chord with so many people from so many different walks of life in so many different parts of the globe. I reposted the video and then I was like, hey guys, if you know this person, can you tag her because I need to talk to her? Well, guess what? Today we are talking to Miss Phansee Davis, and I'm just going to play a quick little snippet of this video before we bring Miss Phansee on.
Let me tell you one thing right now. If the mama, the mammy, the crazy chick that your husband or boyfriend is with or had a child with do not want you part of that child's life, let her do it by herself. You will not be convenient when it's inconvenient for her.
Like, now, y'all saw that video. Then you still now, if you didn't see the entire thing, I'm gonna tag it here below, or I might just play the whole thing during this episode. So this viral video, I love stepmoms, and even if you're a person that does not like stepmoms because maybe you yourself had one, or you claim one took your man, or maybe one did take your man, or maybe you had an awful experience with your own stepmother. Stepmoms have a very decent place in society that ain't really going anywhere. We're here whether you like it or not. So even if you are not a stepmom, even if you can't stand a stepmom, I really encourage you to listen to this episode. Right after this dance break, we are talking to internet sensation Miss Phansee Davis.
I know I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. Naja Hall.
This episode is brought to you by Naja Hall Beauty. If you want a great booty, buy Naja Hall Beauty. Y'all, that is not my logo. That is not my logo. I promise you, I'm classy. We are a very classy brand. But this episode is sponsored by my brand, Naja Hall Beauty. So, Miss Phansee Davis, thank you so much for joining us on I Know I'm Crazy with Naja Hall.
My pleasure.
I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity because
Listen.
everybody ate your video up because you were teaching the girls. You were driving your car and it was real talk. I need to know that day that you made that video, what prompted it? Did something happen or what was going on in your world?
Well, honestly, this has been my world for 18 years. And I always have raging thoughts. And sometimes I have to keep them inside because if I come on the internet, it's going to offend. But on this particular day, I just had to make this video because, you're in your car, and that's when you really have these thoughts of God. This has been my life. So I need to say this to somebody. Somebody needs to hear this. Now, mind you, I had already had a video go viral that had over 1 million views. So, which is what prompted me on TikTok. Now, I used to have it pinned at the top, but if you scroll down my page, this really all screamed from a time that me and my husband was on our anniversary trip, and his daughter had called, and this is when I brought it to TikTok because at this point these people need to know what we deal with as stepmoms. And you know what? I didn't come from a two-parent home. So we can't use the excuse any longer that our upbringing is what causes us to act like this. Because at the end of the day, you have a choice in life to be the person that you want to be. And a lot of times people use their background, generational curses to provide an excuse as to why they behave the way they do. And you will hear that a lot from the biological moms. Oh, I didn't come from a two-parent home. My two-parent home was broken. Well, my mom was murdered when I was 12 years old. I only had my dad to rely on. Luckily, my dad had a mom, so who raised me was my dad's mom. But my dad had always have had a lot of different women, different relationships, and there was only one of those women that was his girlfriend that I was close to when I was 12. And still to this day, we are still friends. I wish that would have been my stepmom, but then when he did get married, I had the stepmom from hell. And then I had the stepmom from hell, and she was from New Orleans, and baby, from hell. So I knew that if I ever became a stepmom and someone who did not have a mom growing up, I already had in my mind exactly how I was going to be. I knew early on that if I ever had my own child or had to be in the care, had someone else's child in my care, what type of love I wanted to provide to that child. So when people like, well, it's the way that she was raised, which his baby mama got a whole lot of problems, but it ain't my problem. You deal with that shit at the counselor's office. You don't bring it over here in my world because this is the world me and my husband is gonna stay in for the rest of our life. So you might as
Come
well
on,
just
Miss
get used
Phancee.
to it.
Come on,
I
Miss
ain't
Phancee.
leaving and he's not either. So get used
Neither
to
we're
it.
not going. Nobody's going anywhere. So then, what was some things that that you can remember your stepmom doing to give her the
Oh.
title "Stepmom from Hell"?
Oh, she would like incite fights between me and my dad. And I had really grown this hatred for my dad when I was younger because I'm like, she's always going to my room, snooping around. Like, I used to write letters to myself and I used to have diaries. She would go in there, she would find my diary. I felt like I was always excluded from things. Like, she used to have her hair all nice and pretty, and my hair was like literally like stuck in a ponytail. She would buy me clothes that she know I didn't like, but she would still buy them anyway. And then when I didn't like it, she would go and tell my dad. Then my dad would come fuss at me. And I
Because
think
you
the
were being ungrateful.
yeah, and I think the turning point for us was one day. This is when I actually moved. I had my dad after my mom died. Shortly after, I ended up going to live with my dad because he had got stationed in Cherry Point, North Carolina, because my dad was in the military. And being a military child, you're going to meet different people. You're going to acquire new friends. Well, I used to always write in my diary about my friends, but one particular time I had wrote in my diary about my dad's ex-girlfriend, Betty, and how he had took me over to Betty's house and he spent the night with her and he cheated on my stepmama. I wrote that in my diary. My stepmom found the diary. She didn't find it. She went snooping. She found it. My dad came home, and that was the first time and the last time he beat the hell out of me. I ended up calling the military police because the
Good,
police don't play. They
good.
came and snatched me up out their house, and then they want to send me to some old crazy hospital. Nah, I ain't crazy. They crazy. But that led me to be able to go live with my grandmother, which was my motive anyway. So then I went to live with my grandmother back in
So wait a
Mississippi
minute,
from there.
Fancy. Was the diary entry true? Did
Yeah,
that
it was
actually?
true. It happened.
So he whipped you not because you did something wrong, but because you
He got caught.
exposed him.
Yeah, he
Because he got caught, so he was wrong. It would have been hard.
New Orleans. She should have never been in my room looking at this is my personal stuff. Plus, I'm a grieving child. So let me have these thoughts because I'm still dealing with the murder of my mom and her fiance. So you don't get to go and snoop through my things. But once again, she was that stepmom that liked to cause division.
She
She
was
wanted to
jealous.
cause division. And she was never close to any of my daddy's family where Betty, oh, my family loved her because she showed up. She had two kids of her own. She had already been divorced and she knew exactly what love looked like and what it felt like. And she wanted to make sure that I was included into her world. So, like,
And she knew you were a little girl that did not have her mother from a traumatic loss.
a
She
traumatic loss. So, yeah, it was a big deal. So, yeah, that really caused a great division between me and my dad. And I knew that now mind you, my husband is the first man I've ever dated with kids. So this was the first, trust me, this will be the first, and God, it is the last. No one else has a chance. So me and my husband, we're gonna have to rock this thing out.
she ain't lying, y'all. Y'all listen to this. Y'all know Fancy is not lying. That
No,
if
I'm
you
not.
could do it again, it's like
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Thank you for Lord, thank you for the blessings and the lessons. But no, not again. But this journey has taught me so much. It has elevated me as a whole human so much. I am very careful now with how I move with certain people simply because of my experiences with this. It's been traumatic.
so, what is one of the major moments of trauma? And I know there's probably too many to name, but is there like a moment where you're like, oh, this shook me to my core? Why would this girl do this? Why would she send her kids like this? What's the first thing that sticks out in your mind?
The time the detective came to our house and said, with the picture, somebody put these bruises on this child, and whoever did it, they're going to prison.
They're going to jail. And
No, she said
somebody
prison.
in your house
She
was
said
accused.
prison, and it was me. I whooped her. Yeah, it was me. She said somebody, but that somebody is me because on your report it's saying that not Phansee, but Sheneka Davis did this to this child.
Your government name.
Yes. So we sitting in the house. Well, prior to that, typically when you have a court order, the court order always give Mother's Day and Father's Day to the each parent. Okay.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
were in the process of going to court because she had the reason why we even initially filed a petition for custody is because she had withheld her from us for so long. So at this point, we gonna go ahead and we gonna file custody. So before we even filed custody, even though we were already in love, we rushed the wedding and everything because number one, really, you never really want to go into court when you're cohabitating with someone. You want to be
The
married when you
optics
go
look
into
better
court.
if you're married. It just looks the
It
optics are
looks
different.
better.
So wait, how
It
old was the
provides more
baby?
stability.
Yeah, how old was the baby at that point when that?
Two, two,
Oh,
because
okay.
I met her when she was 18 months. She was a talking 18 months, so she was very, very smart. This Mother's Day we had her, and I think that was 2009, May of 2009. We had her Mother's Day, and her mom kept saying, "You need to bring her home. You need to bring her home." Well, we was me. It was just me, him, and her because my children was with their dad. I mean, it's Mother's Day. I'm a mother every day, so Mother's Day is not a big deal to me.
You said
So
I
they
need a break today. I'm
Right. So they was with my daughter was with his dad and her and his girlfriend, and my son was with his dad and his girlfriend. I don't want either one of them, so I don't care where they at. Long as your children not here with me. Mother's Day is for me. It's not to keep dealing with children. So the courts to really stop that. I don't need to
they
have my
should.
child on Mother's Day. Give them to their daddy. Make that day for me. That's the day I need to breathe. But we
Yeah,
had her. So no one was home but me, my husband, and her. So I really didn't have a witness to testify that inside my home that nothing happened. So around, she kept calling like all day. When did you bring her home? When did you bring her home? So we finally, his mom was like the pickup drop off spot. And another thing, don't even involve family in it because when you involving family, it gets even messier. Cause now it's almost like you feel like when you see family smiling at her and shit, knowing she crazy, damn, family picking a side too. You on her side or our side. So, you got doubts with family too. Cause now I'm like, his mama, when she would come up there, she'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" No, baby, get this child and get out. Cause I already know what you did to my son. That's the type of mom I am. I ain't finna play nice with you. I'm gonna play nice enough for you to get your child and go. But hey, it is what it is.
so Fancy, you made a really good point. So you saying the pickup spot for the baby was at his mom's house, and you said don't involve family. Okay, so talk to that. Like, why not involve family? We all know the answer, but what happened during
When
that
you
day?
Well, during that day, so now his mom, she was calling the mom, and his mom is like Michelle Obama. She's a very classy, quiet lady. She mind her business. She do not get in no mess. So, but she would always come to his mom's house and try to play like friendly with her. Hey, how you doing? Making it seem like their relationship was just so perfect. And I know she did it to try to affect me, but girl, listen, I got the man. If you want the mama, go right ahead. But I know what type of mother-in-law I have. So we ended up finally dropping my stepdaughter off at about 5 o'clock.
After she had hassled you and badgered you the whole day.
All day long. And when we dropped her off, her mom, as soon as she got in the house, she ran to his mom because, like I said, his mom used to keep her for the mom in the afternoons when she went to work or wherever she would go in the afternoon. So that Monday, she was supposed to drop her off because she normally was keeping her like Monday through Friday. Monday, the mom called, "Oh, she didn't drop Allie off today." Tuesday, she didn't drop Allie off today. Wednesday, she didn't drop Allie off today. So that whole week, she did not see Allie. And then we didn't see Allie either for a while until one day the detective came to our house and was like, "I have a warrant. This warrant has been sworn out against
You.
Sheneka Davis." Yes. And we're like, "Oh, here we go again." Because prior to that, my husband had already got arrested like 3 different times for false reports that she made. So he went from being the perfect citizen to being a convicted felon after we filed that court petition within a matter of a week. I mean, every single night the police was coming to our house. Oh, you sent her a text message today saying you was gonna kill her. Oh, you showed up at her house today and knocked on her door. Oh, you called her telephone and said this. So we like, what? Now, mind you, my husband wouldn't even talk to her. Any conversation that he had with her would be because I would force him to. Like, you got a child by her, you got to talk to her because I'm not talking to the crazy fool. So you have to communicate with her, right? So then the detective pulls out the sheet and was like, the pictures, and said, somebody did this to this child.
And
And
you
whoever
were
did
the
this to this
person
child going to court.
accused of doing it.
She had bruises all down her back. The bruises was red as hell.
But she didn't have those bruises when she left your house and when you dropped her off.
Because if she would have had those bruises like that when his mama grabbed her, she would have said, ouch. Or there would have been some hesitation, resistance, or something. And she messed herself up because we dropped her off on a Sunday and you never took her back over to the mom's house. And then we dropped her off on a Sunday and you didn't go to the detective's office.
On
And
Sunday
got the
night. If my
No,
baby
she went to
has bruises, I'm going to the police immediately. And I'm
she
taking
went there on a Thursday. This report was filed on a Thursday. They was red as hell. So whatever happened had just happened. My stepdaughter is mixed. She has white and black in her. So there's no way I could have done it. But the detective was dead set on me doing it because I'm the stepmom.
So
And
the
hell,
detective believed her.
yes, the
And the
detective
detective
believed her.
approached your household aggressively, like,
Aggressive as hell.
you did this.
Aggressive.
See, he was throwing out his own trauma on you, but that's not your problem. So it
So
sounds
now,
like
no, it was a lady. It was a lady. So
so
now so now, mind you, we're also in the middle of a custody battle. So now we really not finna win custody because if she said I did this halts the custody battle.
which
So
is
now
the
we gotta
whole
take.
point, though. Let me make these
So
false accusations.
yes. So it was building up more and more and more. So we done put that into evidence. Our attorney, let me tell you something. We had the best today. This is the best attorney in Nashville. I'm telling you, our case put her on the map. Because my stepdaughter is a $150K child. We spent upwards of $100K getting custody of this child when she was 2. And the thing is, they probably wouldn't let the mom keep her because we did end up winning custody. Of course we did. I mean, the lady's batshit crazy. My husband she done went. I mean, they found out that those bruises came from her. And it came from her because when my stepdaughter went back home that day, she was calling me mommy, and it pissed her off.
And she
And
beat that baby.
yes, she did. Yes, she did.
That's a
And to this day, I
nasty
stand by
soul.
that. And so that came into court. And then it was just like, when I tell you, when we won custody, we filed in February. Our custody case went all the way to August because it was so much. I mean, she was going to this college at one time. And my husband had went to court one day to talk about the charges that he had already she put against him. At this time was like 5. He got arrested in court because she had went to court, went back to the detective that was on her side, which was a black guy. The DA done took out a warrant on him because the DA said my husband came up to her school with a gun and tried to shoot her and her director. Do you know that even the director of the school came to court and testified to that? Do you know that my
That's
husband was
really
working for...
compelling evidence, though, Phancee, if the director is willing to risk their reputation and their job.
Oh, yeah, so it looks good, right? Of course he
I
did.
mean, it's believable. It's believable
So
that your
now
husband
you
did
want my
do
husband
that.
to take a plea deal. But now we done had to subpoena. That day he had went to the doctor, so we had to subpoena the doctor's office. That day he had met with his criminal attorney, because at this point we got 2 attorneys, because she done made up all these false accusations. So he had met with his criminal attorney. That day he had made a delivery for a company, his job, so we had to get the GPS for that. And unfortunately, he was in the vicinity of it, but not close enough to say that he had came up there, saw her outside smoking a cigarette, and tried to shoot her. My husband ain't even aggressive. So at this point, we in court for that too. And come to find out, that was untrue too. They ended up dropping all the charges against my husband. They arrested her and her director. Her director got fired from the school. Oh, baby, let me tell you something. I became a whole lawyer out here, baby. Yeah, I want to free my man. I done wrote to News Channel 5. Baby, I got money. That's the thing. My husband didn't have money when he met me, but I got money. And baby, I'm finna spend it because baby, you not finna take my good man. When you and baby, listen. In August, when the customer read that court order, baby, she get limit. The judge said, I never want this woman to have custody of this child. When I tell you her visitation was so limited, she got like 2 days a month. Supervised. When I tell you this lady was, let me tell you something. All the interview, all the videos I done put on social media about her, everything. Do you think this lady have ever came to defend herself? Never. She can't. Because you can't even sit up here and defend yourself because I was that top tier stepmom. I took care of your child. I taught my stepdaughter how to tie her shoe, say her ABCs. I potty trained her. The you name it. She started living with us when she was 2, turning 3. Every birthday party, every piece of she ain't never have to buy clothes. I bought them clothes. She never had to do nothing but have visits. And even then, her visits was always interrupted with her craziness. I was so good when the judge used to suspend her visits. I would go and supervise her visits, just so she could be with her child. I have invited
You
her to my
stepmom.
home.
Wait a minute, Miss Phancee. Stepmom came to supervise visits with the mother.
Bio mom. This was like doing Chris. Like I went above and beyond to try and foster a positive relationship with this woman. But she constantly lied. She did come from a very broken childhood. Drug addict daddy. Mama lost custody of all the children that she got like 7 or 8 brothers and sisters. Mama lost custody of all of them. She was in a foster home. But see, those are impediments in your life that's supposed to make you better. Not damage you for a lifetime to where when you have your own kids, you take this kid. And my stepdaughter now, oh, she's a hot mess. We don't have a relationship with her at all now. Because as she done got older, even though she know her mama is, excuse my language, batshit, delusional,
Mom,
psychotic,
mom
mentally
started
ill.
poisoning her mind, didn't she?
And the thing is, they don't have a good relationship. But her mom has always had a problem with our relationship. My stepdaughter has never talked crazy to me. She don't disrespect me. She knows that I was the mom that stepped in. But the thing is, I overstepped. Sometimes as stepmoms, you just have to sit back and worry about your own children. I got my own children. So I'm neglecting my 2 kids, now 3, to still provide a stable household for you. My friends are having to go to court because my friends are witnesses to things that happen. You lying on my friends, saying my friends did something to you that you didn't. So, like, when I tell you this was a Dr. Phil moment, we should have been. I, the thing is, my husband is not violent, but I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of men probably would have walked away when she was a baby. But I was the force behind my husband to
Yeah.
continue because he come from a 2-parent home. So he never seen violence growing up. He when his daddy said don't date that girl, you decided to date that damn girl.
He
And
was
the
defying his
consequences of
daddy.
that. And then we end up giving her back to her when she was 11. We gave her back
After
because and this
spending
was
$150,000 and fighting the good fight and
listen.
losing your mental health, almost losing your marriage, you could have spent that money on so many other
No,
things. You had other
no,
kids.
that's the crazy thing. My marriage was always gonna be there. She never, me and my husband, we was a uniformed division. We never went against each other. We never like it was never a moment like I'm about to divorce you over this.
So you
We
never thought about
stood
leaving Fancy. You never said,
for
this is too much.
because of her. Hell no, baby. I'm standing 10 toes because I knew what type of man I had. So it was like I knew that this was not on him. This was in her. He had nothing to do with her craziness. She chose to be this way. And when we gave her back, I gave her back under I had a store. This is when things really got crazy because we had been back and forth to court. I'd have been accused of child abuse. They had been to my kids' school interviewing them. And it's embarrassing for
Woo!
your kids to have a DCS worker come up to the school saying, hey, did your mom whoop her last night? Hey, did your mom take her in the basement that we don't have, and beat her? Did your mom uh, um push her down the stairs? It was always did your mom. It was never my husband did it. It was always me.
You were
So
the
this,
focal point.
yeah. So the turning point was she was finally, when my stepdaughter was 10, going on 11, she was finally, from the age of 2 to 10, finally being able to keep her for the entire summer. Baby, was I happy. When I tell you I was so happy for her to be able to get her for the summer. So here it is, June. You don't bring her back until August. Is that a detriment? Absolutely. But baby, take the burden off me. Because
We
see,
have a
I
break.
have somewhere to send my kids. So now you can keep your kids, and me and my husband can be kid free sometimes. We was at my store, and when we got to the store, my stepdaughter had stuffed all of like my little baby's toys. She had her baby doll stuffed in her clothes. Like she was still, she had
She
started
was
stealing a
stealing
lot.
from you. She was
Yes,
stealing from you.
she was stealing from whoever, her teacher, her granny, whatever. She was stealing candy, like stealing crazy stuff. So she had stole my daughter American Girl doll, the clothes. She had all of this stuff stuffed in her. And when we got to my store, I was like, because that's where her mom was picking her up from. And I was like, why you got all that stuff stuffed in you for? And she was like, I was like, what is that? And she started pulling stuff out. So I was like, give it here. So I'm hollering at her. I'm going off on her. So I pushed her. I was like, go over there and sit down. By this time, she's sitting down, her mom pulls up, and the way my store, it was like my store, a tobacco store, and a dollar store. Her mom went and parked at the Dollar General store. You can't see my inside my store from the Dollar General store. So I said, go, your mama's here. I sent my stepdaughter out and she's crying. She's a character, baby. Yeah, I don't even. You just crying to be crying. You crying because you know you finna meet crazy and you and crazy
You
about to come
trying to
up
be
with some shit.
manipulative. You trying to get mom excited because you know mama don't
she
like
get
stepmom. So
she get to her mom's car and they just sit. She's still at Dollar General, so she can't see inside my store. She gets in her mom's car, and 5 minutes later, I get a phone call. You slapped Allie. I'm calling the police on you. She just told me you slapped her. Now, mind you, there's a no whooping order in place. No one can whip this child. The judge put that in place because of all the allegations that have been said. So now
nobody corporal
no
punishment.
physical
Nobody
punishment,
touch.
no physical punishment. So she already knows I'm about to get her. Allie done told me she slapped her. Now, mind you, my friend was also at the store, and I had customers at the store. So I was like, girl, I ain't nobody touch Allie, and I hung up the phone. 30 minutes later, the police pulls up at my store.
Here come the
Oh,
cops
embarrassing.
again.
Oh, embarrassing. My friend, like, what the hell? A police officer came in there. Oh, so you slapped this little girl? What? And there's a order. She done gave the police the order and everything. I look outside. Now she's parked in front of my store. The mom saw you when you slapped her. Baby, let me tell you something. If I saw somebody slap my kid, I'm running up on them.
Right, you're gonna
So
have to call the cops on me, not the
that's
other
the
way
first.
around.
So that's the first lie. So her and her mama, I'm outside my door. They in the car laughing. Her and her mama. Yes, they
Oh,
laughing.
so
So
now
my husband was
they have this kinship that's built on lies and manipulation. So she's kind of veering toward her mother's behaviors.
my husband at home in the bed, sick as a dog. I said, get up, come to my store right now. The police is up here. He didn't have to get up, come to the store. He like, what's going on? He see them in the car laughing. When we got home, I said, that's it. She can never come back to my house. We're done. She's staying with her mom. I'm done. He's like, okay, whatever. I emailed her mama. Now, mind you, I told you her mama visitation was from June to August. This is on a Friday. I emailed her mama that Friday night. I'm going in. I'm going off. Y'all crazy motherfuckers. You can't ever bring her back here, blah, blah, blah. Keep her. In August, don't bring her back to my house. Go file your petition. Let me tell you how crazy her mom is. I emailed her this on a Friday. Sunday, because at this point, she's trying to build a paper trail. Sunday,
You
hey,
said, "Girl, you won. Take your child. You won.
she emailed
Enjoy
me
your prize."
Sunday afternoon and said, hey, where do you want to meet me to pick up Allie? How
I
long did I
hit,
just,
I hit your child. Why do you want to bring them back to me?
but,
I
but,
smacked her.
but you know you were supposed to keep her all summer. I said, girl, I don't know who you playing games with, but she can't come back here. You can have her. That was the last communication. her attorney filed a petition to give her back to her in August. We let her stay with her. We went to court, but we was exhausted. At this point, the judge did me a damn favor. She gave her custody back. The baby mom was like, I don't want nothing from them. I got my child back. I don't want child support. I don't want
No
nothing. Now,
child
mind
support,
you,
no back child support. Let's leave it at that.
she don't
Mom, you
want
want it?
nothing. My stepdaughter is 18 now, Naja. She's 18, finna be 19. Why the hell we get a child support petition in the mail a month ago? Talking about she want back time child support. When I tell you this lady is crazy. When I tell you back in November, we got a petition that she wants back child. Not only that, my stepdaughter done had the best life ever. We done took her to Paris. She done went to Honduras. She done went every trip that she got a passport. We give her money. We buy her clothes. When I tell you we are those parents, we're rich over here. So she throughout her life, she's had a great life. But see, the mom is so jealous hearted. She's so evil. Cause back in my stepdaughter has a 720 credit score because of us. We don't put her on our credit cards. We want to make sure when you turn 18, you're ready for life. But instead, before you graduated in February, you decide to move out from your mama house and move in with your girlfriend. Hey, do you? So now you ain't talking to your mama. You pretend you was coming to live over here. During this time, even though we had sent her back to her mom, we've had custody of her again during these times because her and her mom now had DCS reports. The mom done beat her. She done had to come to stay with us a week or two. So it's just been a whole mess. But then back in November, you decide to take one of the credit cards that we had your name on. You decide to go into our bank account and take $1,000 out of our bank account. So this is what has ended our relationship. You have done a lot, but once you steal from us, when the only thing you got to do is pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I need this," you decided to steal from us. And at this point, my husband is hurt. When I say he is hurt, because he never would have thought that his daughter, even with all the stuff that you did, I don't know why we extend people grace. Once you see how manipulative a person are, you hold them there. You don't say, well, I know they lied about this, but they didn't lie about this. A
I
liar is
guess
a
because
liar.
she was a child, and you understood what she was going through, so you just gave her chance after
But you
chance.
can't. But you can't. I'll tell any stepmama, as soon as your house starts to even try to be divided because of a child, that child needs to stay at that one house. I'll see you when you turn 18. Because this is the thing. Other kids do not deserve to suffer and not have a mentally healthy relationship with their father because he has this child over here that's taking him through the ringer, and her mother that is constantly trying to ruin his life. We be trying to stand 10 toes down for these children, but sometimes you got to throw in the towel. I can't do this no more because I can't even show up for the family that love me because I'm so invested in this child over here. And a lot of women be like, oh, he's a deadbeat. Oh, I can't believe he don't see his child. Do you know that some men don't have the mental capacity to even stay in these relationships with their children because it's breaking them down piece by piece because they're trying to juggle two families, and it's hard, it's challenging. So now I can't even be a great father in my actual household because I'm trying to please a child who has a narcissistic, manipulative mom. Okay.
So, Fancy, you were saying something. You said it's guys out there, there's fathers out here that just don't have the mental capacity to actually keep up the fight. Because I made a post the other day and I was like, when the mom does everything in her power, or when the high conflict parent does everything in their power to rip this child away, they turn the child into a pit bull, into a rabid animal to attack the other household. They're making up lies, they're manipulative. Then there's some men that can fight the good fight, or they have hundreds of thousands of dollars to continue that. But there are some guys that are saying, you know what, I will have to see you when I'm 18 because I have to show up for other people. There were some people in the comments that call these men weak. They call these men deadbeats. They were like, I would never give up on my child if that happened. And my first thought was, thank God you've never been in that position to have your words tested, because you don't know what you would do if there's someone that's turned your child into something filled with hate and rage. What's your thoughts on that though? When you were seeing your husband have to almost choose between the household, like you said, where you're getting love, and then this other situation that's giving him pure hatred.
the mom is the deadbeat. And you know what? My husband, unfortunately, he never had to choose because I was always that force behind him to make him stay. Even when he didn't want to, I was still pushing him to have a relationship with his daughter because I knew she needed him. And I do feel like the reason she has turned away from men is in fear that she would end up like her mother. I'd rather date a woman because if I date a man, I'm going to be the same mother that my mom was, and I don't want that for myself. Many times she has said, I don't want to be like my mama. Her mama knows she loves me down, and her mom has always tried to drive a wedge between our relationship. She went as far. There have been times where I've tried to reconcile with this woman, and my husband will always warn me against it. But the last straw for me was when she actually told my stepdaughter when she was 16, you know your stepmom had sex with my brother and your dad knew about it. First off, my daughter is 28, my oldest one, and I've never even talked to her about sex, me having sex with nobody.
About your sex
So
life. Yeah, that's not her
so why
business.
would you tell your 16-year-old daughter this lie? It was a lie. It was definitely a lie. Even if it had even a little bit of the truth, why would you put that in your 16-year-old daughter's head? And then when my stepdaughter asked me, she's like, you slept with my uncle? I said, what? I was shocked. And I said, hell no, who told you? She was like, well, that's what my mom said. And then he called me and said it too. So now you done got your brother to lie with you. Now, mind you, the brother's dead now because he was crazy as hell, too. He walked in front of a train. That's what type of people that my husband dealt with. This man walked in front of a train a year and a half ago and committed suicide. Bad shit crazy. And I think you died with that lie, bruh. You died with
Yeah.
that. You corroborated that story with this crazy fool. And I wouldn't sleep with you with nobody's vagina. Let's don't talk about mine. Because you ain't even, first off, you ain't even my type. You are a crackhead. You was in prison for however long. Why would I sleep with you? And why would I sleep with anyone my husband knew? And why? And you think my husband would have stayed with me? You could have picked anybody from anybody. But you chose your brother. And then,
And it was probably easy.
and then she
No, I'm
went and
saying it was
lied and
probably easy to get him to corroborate the story because, he didn't have high moral
And then
character. So,
we had went on vacation with him years ago. Me and my husband had run a trip to Hawaii, and I invited my ex boyfriend sister. She came with me, and his baby mama brother was his guest. So if anybody did anything, it would have been those two, not me and him. But the fact that my stepdaughter kind of was like, maybe it's true. But then one night, his baby mama called over here and told my husband, your daughter has pictures on the internet with some boys at school and she's giving them all of this. That was a lie too. You lying on your own daughter. So then the conversation came up. Why did you tell Allie that my wife slept with your brother when you know how she holds her promiscuity to a high standard? So why would you
and
tell?
she said, I never said that. She probably lied and
I
said, I
didn't
didn't
say
say
that.
that.
His daughter told her that. His daughter is 10 and don't even know me from a can of paint. So she lied when I tell you this,
She's
and
pathological.
the lady is married with 2 other kids. So your fixation upon me and what I have going on in my life has been obsessively crazy. And the thing is, people be like, ain't no way that happened. Yes, it happened. So many things has happened with this lady to the point to where I don't even see her. We don't shop at the same grocery store. We don't live on the same parts of town. Even if I knew she shopped at Publix, hell, I'll just go to Walmart and deal with their bad customer service. When I tell you I want no parts of anything with this lady, and unfortunately, the part of her that I had to love the most has turned out to be her. I I sacrificed so much for this child. But when I say it was a lesson and a blessing, through this child I went and I obtained my master's in counseling. I was going to law school, but I put that on hold. I went and got a pre-law degree. I've been an advocate. I'm a CASA worker. I became a licensed mediator for family, civil and domestic violence. I also went and worked in juvenile courts as an intern just so I can understand how the system works. I went and I was part of the foster care review board for 2.5 years, giving my volunteer time. I went and I volunteered for a place here that deals with people with HIV and AIDS. I was part of Project Cope. I went and worked in a hospital with mental health and substance abuse and HIV victims to try and just understand human behavior.
Wow.
I wanted to learn, and that still has yielded me this. She's just batshit crazy and she don't want to change. She is who she is and she gonna be who she is. I'm just glad that my stepdaughter is 18 now. And once we get over this child support petition, whatever she's won, because I know at one point she called him like, I want you to give me $10,000. Girl, why? Girl, why? You chose not to get child support, but you can't go and say that your child has not been well taken care of by us. She's never had to go without, and if she did go without, she went without because you wouldn't let her come visit us. Every time my stepdaughter did used to come visit, she would have to go back home, and there would be a problem because you think you better than us here. Oh, she's coming back home with new clothes. She's coming back home with things that the other kids don't have. There have been times she's calling and say, we don't have no food in our refrigerator. My husband cash apping her money to buy food for everybody, not just his child, but her other kids too. Hey, can you send me a DoorDash? Hey, can you cash out me this? So it's been all of these things that we've given you. We've given you the opportunity to be in such a more successful place in life, and you chose not to. Nashville Cares, that's a community for HIV and AIDS victims, but those I went there and I've sat with these people and I've met different people from that organization, and some of them too has dealt with the same type of thing. So like, I'm going into all these different places so that I can help people develop to be better people. She
Yeah.
don't have a chance. She is who she is. She could never come to the internet and say nothing about me. I bet people be like, okay, this lady's saying all this. Where is his baby mama? Baby girl, come defend yourself. If I'm saying all of this about you and you have a valid fight, oh well, it's social media. Come defend yourself. What is your story? What is your problem? How do you build so much division against two people that's trying to provide your child with a set of extra love? Every child that has two sets of parents is lucky as hell, because a lot of kids have no parents. So when you say I'm a single mother, a lot of y'all are single mothers by choice. No man wants to deal with a crazy woman who's trying to cause division in the other realm of his life. He has other families. He has kids. He has girlfriends. Oh well, that's not your problem. It's the love that he want to give to your child. And y'all are constantly putting up roadblocks.
But you
Oh,
said,
oh,
wait a
you
minute,
can't get her.
Phansee, you said that she is married now with other children. You said,
2 kids.
but then
She's
there's
been
no
married for she's been married to him for, I know, at least 15 years. But he's from another country. So I kind of feel like he has watched all this unfold, and he's been that guy like, I don't want it to happen to me. But they recently had separated because he, I guess, came to his senses and found somebody else, and now they're back to. I don't know what's going on with him now, but how do I know that? How do I know that information?
I
Where do
don't
you think
want
it
you to
came
say.
from?
I don't want you to say. I don't
His
want you.
daughter. But she know it. Like, listen, her mama knows she's messy, okay? Her mama knows she's manipulative. Instead of us joining forces to shut down the behavior, she continued to allow her to be that. The first sign that you see that your child is trying to turn households against each other, you get on that phone and you don't create more division. You say, hey, we need to find a safe space for her
That is
because
not
she's
the type of
acting out.
biological mother you were dealing with, though. Ever, ever. It sounds like she kind of gets off on her kid adopting these toxic patterns. Like she's like, you said something. You guys would take care of your stepdaughter. You would give her things that she needed, send her back to her mother's house, new clothes, new shoes, things that she need, and now she's going back to mom's home, being made to feel small. You think you're better than us because you have new things. So I'm sure that set some resent in your stepdaughter's head against you guys, because she's a child. She doesn't know how to navigate these complex feelings. Like, she don't know. Do you see? And I know she's 18 years old. She's made some mistakes. Clearly, she needs some resources. She needs some help. She got to go sit on somebody's couch. Is there room for? Are you open?
Rehabilitation. She's
Yeah.
been to counseling all her life. She recognizes that she needs help. I was with her in November when I found out. I was actually with her because before the credit, we had already filed a claim with the bank that someone had stole our information.
But you didn't know
We
who it was.
until I was with her and her girlfriend because she asked me to come and pick her up because I had my homecoming. So I went and picked her up. Even though I hadn't talked to her since May, she called me this me. I hadn't talked to you since May. You calling me in November saying, Mommy, can I hang out with you this weekend? I don't know if you want to kill me. I don't know what you want to do, but sure you can. I go pick her up. We hanging out. We're just having a conversation, a casual conversation while we're at the event. And she says, I'm about to buy me a car. I was like, when? Who's helping you? Where are you financing this car at? Like, she's like, oh, I said, are you going through your bank? But she was like, I don't know. And she started telling me different family members who's going to help her. I was like, so you bank with, did you ask your bank? She was like, I said, you still bank with BB&T? She's like, no, I bank with Truist. I said, hold up. You been using that card? She was like, I thought that was my card. Nigga, you ain't thought you had a card with a $10,000 limit. So that's what she was like, my mom said that was my money. Okay. Here we go. Your mom know good and damn well that you ain't got no credit card with no 10,000 limit that you can just go to the bank and keep getting cash advances off of. I
So
said no.
wait a minute. If her mom was involved in that, now we know they both kind of do extrapolate, like don't tell the truth. But is that really 100% her fault as a naive 18-year-old with in a toxic environment?
I can't keep blaming your mama. You're an adult now. You make your
18
own
years old is
decisions.
not an adult. That you ain't.
She
You might smell like an
legal.
adult at 18, Phancee. You might
You
smell
can't go back
grown.
to
You might
juvenile
look
court.
grown.
The system treats you like an adult, and that's what we have to let our children know. Baby, once you turn 18, the system gonna treat you like an adult. So if you out here making adult decisions, you an adult. If
Your
you want to
brain is
be a
not even
child,
developed at 18 years old, though. Her
shit,
brain
some of
ain't
these brains ain't developed at 40. People still out here making bad shit crazy decisions.
her
But
mother.
whatever the case, she knew better. And at that point, I see her, the girlfriend's looking too. Cause at this point, I see the guilt in both of y'all faces. So I continue because I was working the event. And then I see her leave and call her mom on the phone. And then eventually she just left altogether.
So
And
she
like
didn't say.
from
Did
that,
she say goodbye? Did she say, "Hey, can we
she
talk?"
said, Mommy, I'm leaving. She hugged me and she left. And then we text like after that, and I was just telling her, like, you're going to jail. She was like, but I'll pay it back and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, at that point, we end up paying the money back. So, you know what? Don't even worry about it. But at this point, and this is, people going to be like, oh, that's messed up. There is no, as long as she is in a relationship with her mom, we got to stay clear. Because at this point, we're too successful and we have our own mentally healthy household over here to bring in anything that could interrupt our peace. So as long as her and her mom has a relationship, we cannot risk even having a healthy relationship with her because it's going to still continue to be too much back and forth. And because you and your mom has filed this child support petition, which means you are trying your best. And this is where the system needs to make some changes. And I'm going to tell every man this. Look at the laws in your state that you live in. There are a lot of dads out here that take care of their children without the system, without child support. But as soon as you piss the baby mama off, she can take you back to court even after their child turned 18 and in the state of Tennessee get you for back child support. That shouldn't even be. But it has happened, and a lot of men put their trust in these women. Oh, she ain't crazy. She cool. She would never do this to me.
Oh,
Yes, the
let
hell
you
she
get
would.
married. Let you get with a beautiful, successful woman. Let that man
Yes,
move
she
on.
will.
Let that man not be her puppet. She's going to court. I'm
She's
running
always like any woman that will say, oh, she started messing with him when we was together. Girl, y'all was not together. Y'all were not together.
You were not
And
together.
when I went to his house, not a trace of you was there. So maybe y'all was together for as you still talking to him on the phone trying to figure out if y'all gonna get back together. But together means you still living in the house with him.
He is not acknowledging you to anybody. You know he doesn't want you. You're using the kids and stuff. Like that's a common trait thing though. That's a common way to cry victim. We were still together. No, you just weren't ready to let go.
Right. They think that they could in some of these women head they really think he'll never find nobody better than me. And when he does, the children is the direct impact of all of this craziness. Listen, if your baby father have someone that's willing to step in and help you fulfill the role that your shoes has to walk in, why are you not embracing that with open arms? I know there are going to be some situations where, yes, dad was cheating with you on this woman. This woman told you, I'm no longer messing with him. And then all of a sudden, he leaves you and he up and married this woman. I can't expect that to be a situation where y'all are going to become a kumbaya family. It's going to be hard to co-parent with that because that lady still is attached to her emotions. But when you have someone that both of y'all have went your separate ways, you all have let each other go, and this man has moved on. What are you still holding on for, baby? Let that kid go be with the dad and stepmom, and you go get your hair and nails did and go on a trip with your friends, or go do something else with your life. This strong grip that these women have on these men, and the court allows it. If you get the wrong judge who have already been through a similar situation, their emotions are going to overtake their ruling decisions too. And I do feel like the first judge we had, no, not the first judge, the last judge we had, which was a black woman, I do feel like she too have experienced these same type of travesties in her home, and a lot of her rulings was made based off her emotions and not based
She
off
was not
logic.
biased. She was a biased
She
judge.
wasn't. She
Like,
wasn't.
we get biased lawyers. We don't even know we're hiring a lawyer that hates us and we're paying this person and they're losing intentionally. That's happened to us before with attorney in Texas, North Texas. I should call his name, Jacob Jeffries. But
Period.
'cause I'm about calling these judges and these attorneys names now. If you
Yeah.
flub a family's life, you should be held accountable. You should give those people their money back. So you say the judge was biased. So at this point, you guys made a mutual decision between you and your husband, like, hey,
Yeah.
their relationship can't be what it used to be. Is he so as of right now, it stands that she's over here. You guys are going to wait until this child support, until you submit all your evidence to show that this child support claim, just like a lot of them, were fraudulent. So you're just going to let court play out and then see what happens with the relationship from there.
I feel like as she get, I don't even know if her and her mom even have a relationship at this point, and I kind of don't even want to know because my stepdaughter has a lot of emotions that she needs to navigate through as an adult, and I feel like both for every parent that has been involved in her life needs to give her the space to do that. She needs to be able to go and sit on somebody's couch peacefully and actually navigate through those emotions that she have because it's a lot. And I didn't expect for her to become 18 and be a thriving adult. But this is what I did expect for her. I expected for her to either go to the military, go off to college, or maybe just go travel the world with my benefits for free. I work for American Airlines. You can go anywhere in the world for free, pretty
What?
much. Or if you have to pay to come back from somewhere, we will pay for that for you. I really wanted her. You have no kids. Go out and create your own life. That's what I wanted
The
for her.
world
And we've
was
talked
her
about
oyster.
this.
Like the world
We've
is.
talked about this. We have an unlimited amount of resources that we can provide to her if she wanted to really get her mind right.
I
She
don't see with
chose.
Phancee. I honestly don't see where she would have had the room to that because she has the angel on her shoulder and she has the devil at the other household saying, "You think you're better than us," and that does come with some survivor's remorse. She's like, "Dang, my sisters and brothers in my mom's house, they can't eat, they don't have new clothes, but Phancee and Dad are over there thriving with this beautiful home. Phancee's successful. Look at Phancee's kids, but I feel guilty." So she's
That's
got two
true.
opposing forces just
That's
tugging at
true.
her psyche.
Hmm. My husband used to always tell her, your sister is not your responsibility. But she knew that she know her mother is rageable because there's been things that has happened with them, like her brother shot in her house trying to kill her while the kids was there. There have been like when I tell you toxic and beyond, there has been so much that has happened and that has put my stepdaughter kind of in this role where she feel like she has to protect her siblings, but
Yeah.
at some point you got to protect you because there was times where I was concerned for her own safety for her harming herself. I know that she have been through a lot, but I cannot put my own safety on the front line anymore and make sacrifices to save her, because I've done that for the last pretty much 18 years of her. Well, she's 18, so 16 years of her life. I was always the one who she could come and tell anything to if something was bothering her, if something happened to her. At one point, I was the only parent. My husband wasn't showing up doing what he needed to do, because I just allowed him to just be the dad, go out the house, work. I'll make sure somebody's gonna take care of the kids. I'll make sure I got a babysitter for the kids. I'm doing doctor's appointments. I'm doing this. Like when I say as a step parent, sometimes we overstep. I did way too much to have the step parent title, but I did it because I had two kids of my own, and I never wanted to be labeled as this individual that were making a difference between my kids. Everybody for years have always thought that this was my real child. I mean, because I showed up for everybody equally. If anybody had more of an advantage to me, it was her. Even my own kids and their needs was put on the back burner because I was so invested in making sure she was okay, because she was the child that needed the most attention. She was the child
Yeah.
that needed the most protection. She was the child where the system was always coming to her defense. My kids had their dads. My kids had their dad's girlfriend. I never interfered. Baby, yo stepmama, yo who? I don't care what you call her. I appreciated the help. Like that was God sent. Like I got somebody who's gonna help me take care of my child. At one point when I was 20, my daughter's dad had met a woman who had been divorced and had a child of her own, and I used to always think, because my baby daddy wasn't showing up, like, I need money, I need you to get your child, and you was giving me all these excuses. Plus this was the woman that he cheated on me with, so of course she looked like the enemy to me. But it didn't take me 18 years to catch on to this woman is my friend, because let me tell you, I had one conversation with this woman. I'm on the phone calling her. I'm in the tub. I remember I was in the tub with candles. I was like, I'm finna call her and start something. I'm going off on her. I'm calling her the B word and everything. I'm going off. You ugly, do this.
You
And she
wouldn't
was
be in a
like,
high conflict by your mom. You would be
and
in the
she,
HCBM.
and guess what she said to me? And when I tell you, are you finished yet? She didn't cuss me out. She didn't try. I mean, she didn't try. She was, are you finished yet? Girl, did you not hear what I said? So then she started saying, let me tell you something. If you need somebody to pick the age up, call me. If you need help with the age, call me. That conversation changed. When I tell you that is one of my closest friends to this day. When I tell you she gave me the baby shower for my last baby I had. When I tell you our family became so blended
She
to
was
the
the
point.
catalyst to your healing, because you're like, oh, this is how we're supposed to act. This is
And
how
then she just, yeah, and me not knowing how stepmom's supposed to act, because I had already had a crazy stepmom. She was really the turning point for me, where I said, I do have help with my child. And it went from, okay, at one point, her and my baby dad didn't have a car. I had two. Y'all used my other one. And they kept my car for, I know, 6 or 7 months. Like, and then her and my baby daddy ended up breaking up when my daughter was maybe like 5. No, my daughter was maybe like 8 or 9. They end up breaking up, and she had a husband. She had a boyfriend that was in prison, which was her baby daddy. So when he got out of prison, my baby daddy moved in the house, moved out of the house with her, moved across the street from them. Do you hear me, Naja? Moved across the street from them. And when I used to drop off my daughter, my baby daddy would take her when went to work, to her and her boyfriend, which is not her husband. When I tell you we became a blended family, when I tell you my daughter never missed a beat, she always had her and her now husband, and she had my baby daddy, and she had me.
she had a village to rally around her.
We figured it
She had
out.
too much love. Too much love.
So much love. And then when my other baby daddy came in the picture, we all still hung out. We were all like, we really did do what we had to do. And then when my baby daddy met his next girlfriend, we Facebook friends since day. We still friends. She's married, got her whole new man. But my daughter still look at both of them as people that took care of her. And I love that. I so love that for her. And I have a son, he's had people, his dad has had women that wasn't too favorable of him. But I stepped out the way in hopes that my son's father would just always be the one to step up and protect him. So like I never really had like I've never been like a crazy baby mama. Listen, take care of your child. That's all it is for me. It ain't no emotional attachment. I don't want nothing to happen to you, but I don't want to be with you. And to me, when women act like that and they're to me they're jealous and they still want a portion of that man or they want to be able to control that man's every move. There is no other excuse that you can give me why you are a high conflict baby mama. You can't tell me why. You can't give me a reason. I'm not accepting no excuses. By the time Christmas come, you want gifts. Time spring break come, you want to know if you going the dad or whatever gonna give you money. We're not your convenience when you're being inconvenienced. You're not gonna make me be the one to step in for you when you feel like it. I'm gonna step in for you at all times, or I'm not gonna step in at all.
Period. So let me, I want to wrap it up. If your stepdaughter is watching this, which she might get a hold to these clips because you're at this point you're internet famous. Are there any words of encouragement that you want to offer to her, or anything that you would like to say to her that you probably haven't been able to say yet?
She watched all the videos. She has. Um, she knows that there are two parts of me. The part of me that loves you and a part of me that's not gonna put up with your shit. You get to choose the version of me that you want from me. And the way that you choose that is you come here and you act like you got some sense. You don't come here with all that BS that you learned growing up. You come here with a heart filled with love and you want this to be your safe space. I cannot deal with anyone that's fighting a raging war inside of them against me or my husband. This is not just about your relationship with me. You accept both of us. You not gonna come here and play the blame game and point fingers at my husband and think I'm not gonna come to his defense. It no longer works that way. There was a time where she had to fool me. If a daddy did something and she say, "Mate, I'm getting in his ass." I know what type of father my daughter has. I know my father is filled. I know my husband is filled with love, and he want to give his children the world. We're not trying to focus on what has happened in the past. We're trying to focus on what we can do to help you be a better individual going forward. And
Yeah,
if that's not what you want, and if that's not what your goal is, you have to stay over there on the other side because we happy over here. We got joy in this home, and it's gonna stay that way.
baby girl, I hope you receive that message with love. You know that you are loved, you know that you are wanted, and you need it. So I hope you receive that and things are going to work out for you. I have a very strong feeling. Phancee, where do you get your unapologetic fierceness from? Because there's a lot of stepmoms that are so scared to show up like you've shown up or to say, hey, just to put their foot down, or they don't even feel like the queen in their own castle. Where do you get this fierce attitude from? And how can we be more like Phancee?
I mean, I can't fake it because this is the thing. Once you reach a point in your life where, like, I want to be mentally healthy and happy. So in order for me to be that, I have to be true with myself. And in order to be true with myself, I got to speak my truth. As long as you sit there and you hold on to things, idle mind is a wandering mind, and I refuse to be that person. If there is something on my mind, I got to say it. I can no longer hold back because I may hurt somebody or because somebody may look at me as being this person. I know who I am. I'm confident in who I am. I know that everything I do it with love. When you become so secure within yourself and you build up a level of confidence to where, baby, I can't be touched. God got me. Everything else is going to fall in place.
Yeah. Do you think that there's ever a time where, when your stepdaughter was younger and you guys would probably get nasty emails or stupid phone calls or nasty texts from the other household? Is there ever a time for the stepmom to intervene and get on the phone or hang it up, or should you just stay out of it completely?
Honestly, you got to completely stay out of it because this is the thing. You cannot reason with a crazy person. And the thing is, you're trying to fix someone that's already broken, and that's not your job. She needs to see a therapist. You can't help her. Stay completely out of it. Your husband has to be able to put his foot down, and when he can't, that's when that number is on block and do not subscribe ever again.
Yeah.
That's it.
I get a lot of clients that, I could help somebody deal with a high conflict mom, disrespectful stepchild, but I have not, in all my years of coaching, I've not been able to figure out how to help a woman deal with a partner that cannot set boundaries. It's almost like he's inviting disrespect and welcoming, or he's just so lazy or nonchalant or too much of a coward. No shade to anybody out there. To, I can't even convince that woman to stay. Do you have any advice for the women that call me, and I'm sure that are going to start calling you, or that call you? He won't set boundaries, Phancee. He lets her cuss me out. What should I do? Do you have any advice for that particular woman?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. A man, even if a man tells you don't cuss my wife out, don't say this about my wife, he still cannot control that. To me, you're asking the man to control a person that's going to continue to do that anyway. Your husband has to stop all communication. If the conversation does not keep that child at the heart of the conversation, the phone call must end. That's it, and that's all. This is the thing. Sometimes we got to ask ourselves, am I those things? You can't let people say things about you that are not true and let that actually urge at you every single day. That's like, oh my God, I can't believe he let her say. Men can only control what he said, but if that man continues to engage in a conversation with that woman when he knows she is disrespectful, that's when you got to say, either we in this together, or we gonna have to get apart. I'm not telling nobody to stay with a man that's not providing them a safe space in a parenting war. You got to go, because it's not healthy for you or his relationship. Because who wants to sit at home and argue with a man about a woman that he no longer has a soul tie to? That got to be crazy.
That gets old real fast.
Yes. Yes. And I hate to hear when a woman tell me, yep, I had to let him go because he wasn't protecting me. And that's sad. And for every man that is watching this, you build a fighting rage in a woman when she feels like you're not showing up for her. And the way that a man show up for you is he shut it down the first time. The second time, it either will never happen, or when it happens and he don't shut it down, that's when we gonna have a conversation. The third time, I'm walking away. I'm not staying, because
Yeah.
you already know, we've already discussed. And never have that discussion in front of her. Never give her the power in your household to see the vision between you and your husband or your boyfriend. That needs to be a conversation that is done privately between the two of you. Always show up as a uniform front, but when you get home, you tear his ass up. You let him have it.
I know I said the last question like 5 seconds ago, but 5 questions ago, but for real, this is the last question. So, should, like, the stuff that happens with the stepchildren, if you know that their mother is disordered, she's a liar, she's chaotic, she's toxic, the kids do love their mom because that's their mother. Is there an appropriate time to tell them the truth about your experiences with their mother? When is that appropriate, or is it not appropriate at all?
I don't think it's ever appropriate to involve a child in an adult conversation. Kids deserve to be kids so they can thrive. I don't want my kid going to school worrying about what mom and dad is doing. I want my kids to go to school, make friends. I want my kids to go out in society and have fun. I don't want them to be at a birthday party wondering if dad gonna show up and act a fool, or if mom gonna show up and act a fool. That is not a child's place. Let a child be a child. But I'm tell you something. Children know how their parents are. The question is, will children accept how their parents are? Or will they continue to remain blinded until the time comes to where one of those parents is no longer in their life? It's a choice.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, Miss Phancee. Listen, Miss Phancee, let me tell you this. I'm born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee.
I see that. I
Yes, but
know
I'm
that.
in New York now. I've been here for 17 years, but I saw your 615 phone number. I said, I gotta go and have some lunch or get Miss
Listen,
Phancee a martini or something, because
let
you
me
are
tell you
my type
something.
of
I can
girl,
fly
Miss
at any
Phancee.
time. Listen, we can meet it for a girls' day. I can fly, as long as I'm off work, babe. I can book a flight and I can be in New
Let me
York,
tell you
baby.
something, Miss
It's
Phancee.
nothing.
I
It's
have a
nothing.
guest room with your name on it, and
Listen,
when I don't play like that, I
don't
mean that.
threaten me with a good time.
Like,
Don't threaten me with a good
I
time.
don't just talk to people I don't mean. Miss Fancy, you come on up to New York. You come on for the day. Okay, you go
Listen,
to LaGuardia. It's 12 minutes away. You come on.
listen. Don't threaten me with a good time. The collab they didn't know they needed to see.
Yes,
Let's do
yes.
it.
Well, listen, Miss Fancy, just can you tell everybody where they can find you? Because I'm going to share all of her links below, guys. Whether you are watching or listening to this, all of her links will be shared in the description. But tell everybody where you spend most of your time online.
Well, I have so many pages, but really, if you really want to get to the nitty gritty of the stepmom business, you can get that on TikTok. I don't really talk about it on Facebook or Instagram a lot, or um, TikTok, which is supposed to be going away, but that's really where all of my like stepmom journey. If you scroll down to the bottom, you're gonna be like, "Oh, damn, it's a lot."
Okay,
I actually have a fancy faves that you can go on, but yeah, TikTok is where you can really talk
okay.
about the
And we
other
don't
stuff.
know
Because
until
all
you
of
know.
my other pages are like business pages, and TikTok is kind of like this. Like that's where everybody get like the nitty and the gritty of all the information.
Okay,
It gets
okay.
real
Because
crazy over
Miss
there.
Fancy, we don't know if TikTok is going away. That's true because we're recording this today. It's not going to come out by the time the ban is supposed to happen. But by the time we post this, we'll figure out how to make sure that people can connect with you and find you.
Just
Miss,
Google Phancee, baby. I'm Googleable. I'm
Woo!
at
She
Google.
said, she said, Google me. She said,
Google
Google
me.
me, baby. You gonna listen, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed this conversation. Y'all can tell that I have my face hurts from smiling so much, and I should have been taking some notes for my damn self from Miss Phansee Davis. So listen,
I'm
y'all.
gonna
This
have
is,
to interview you. That's what's gonna have to happen. I got to
and
interview
I'm gonna
you.
come back because I got some shit to say too, Miss Phansee. Miss Naja. Come on now. And Miss Phansee, when we get off, you gotta send me your address. I have to send you some Naja Hall beauty because I can tell you are a glamorous girl. I can see it. Look, this hair. Oh my god!
My hair.
I love this hair flip. Ooh, I saw it yesterday on your Instagram. I said, "You ready?" So listen, everybody. Thank you so much for listening and watching. This has been another episode of I Know I'm Crazy with Naja Hall. I will see you Tuesdays everywhere. Your favorite podcast, because I know it's this one, our stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh my God, Miss Phansee, that was good.
I know I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. Naja Hall.